people think, watu wengi wanafikiria wakati tunasema nchi ilikuwa mahali pabaya, wanafikiria tunajaribu kupiga Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. The country was not in that shape because of President Uhuru. It was because of global situation. The main one being the total shutdown of the economy for nearly 1.5 years because of COVID-19. Nobody in Kenya left their home for more than a year. Curfew, you can't go anywhere. There is no business running. So you can imagine shutting down the economy even for a day is costly. Ask me, I am the immediate Minister for Interior. When riots used to happen and the economy of Nairobi is shut for one day, the economic cost is so huge, is in billions. So you can imagine the entire country shutting down for a year and a half. That is what caused all the problems we found when we took over. The dollar was very strong against the shilling. President Ruto in the last 2 years has worked on the interventions and policy decisions that have made the dollar stable. It was at 165, 167. For more than a year now, it's operating between 127 and 130. And there's every likelihood it will go down. People will ask you, sasa, mimi mutu ya nyombu metengero kana atunga, ya? Kana mumete chera, mambo ya dollar. How am I affected by the dollar? I will show you how you are affected by the dollar if you are from Shera or Gatonga or Ngeru or anywhere else in the county. Hizo vitu watu yetu wanaenda kununua madukani hapo Marimanti, hapo Chogoria, hapo Kadhwana. Most of those items are imported from abroad because our manufacturing capacity is very, very small. All the household items, many of them are imported. They are imported in bulk from China, from other countries. The person importing them pays for those items using, they have to convert Kenya shillings into dollars. So if the shilling is weak, you need more shillings per dollar. And you use more money per container to bring one container. And when you go to sell in Chogoria, the price, if the shilling is weak, the price will be higher to the customer buying those things in the shops in Chogoria. If the shilling is strong, like it is now, you use less shillings to get $1. You will therefore use less money to bring one container of the merchandise. The value, the price of that item in the rural areas will be a bit moderate. That is the connection between a strong dollar and the person in Kondi and the person in Mudambe. So our shilling now is strong. It will become even stronger. Inflation was at 9.6%. Now it is oscillating between 2.7 and 3%. Interest rates, the central bank lending rates was, a year ago, was 15.8%. Today, it is 11.25%. It is going to drop the next time central bank meets in the monthly policy review meeting. Meaning, again, people will ask, what is the connection between interest rates and an ordinary person doing some juakali business in Chuka town, okay, in Chakariga, or even in Magutuni? Interest rates. This is it. That when interest rates are high, as they have been, banks don't lend businesses any money. They lend government because government is broke. The interest is very high, so they buy what we call government paper. They give government money to run the country. So businesses don't if you try getting a loan, if you have a small business Apple, the interest rate is so high to discourage you because there is already a market of 16, 17%, 15%, they can give credit to government. If the government rate, the central bank rating rate, now which is low, banks will be forced to give affordable credit to as many businesses as possible, including small businesses in our rural places. That is what happened in the Kibaki time. That's why many businesses grew in Kibaki time, because banks were literally hawking loans. Bank loans in the working places, forcing people, literally begging people to take loans. But because of high interest rates, banks stopped dealing with poor small businesses, and because they are lending government. So there's a connection. For 2 years, President Ruto has struggled with macroeconomic stability, interest rates, the strength of the shilling, inflation, and also the price of fuel, which was at 217, now it's about 160 something. And it will come down, it will continue coming down. What President Ruto has done in 2 years, it took Kibaki 5 years. Because the first time, Kibaki was so unpopular because he was trying to reverse the Moi economy, the macroeconomic indicators for the Moi economy. Remember, growth, economic growth, by the time Moi was leaving, was negative 0.1%. By the time 2007, end of first term of Kibaki, growth was 7.1%. But you see, people don't eat growth. They don't, so they were asking, yeah, Kibaki, you're telling us GDP and growth and interest rate, but we can't see anything. The same questions the people of Kenya are asking today. But the macroeconomic environment must be built first. There is no economics. You cannot deal with the microeconomic issues unless you tackle interest rates, strength of the currency, da 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 da. It took Kibaki 5 years. It has taken William Ruto 2 years. And in these 2 years, 1 year, he had a very, very, very disruptive opposition from outside. The second year, he had a terrible opposition from inside his government. Yet, he has brought the kind of impact that I have told you at the macro level. Now, what remains now the next 2 years is to work on what is music to our ears. Household incomes, job creation, microeconomic transformation of real sectors where our people derive their livelihood from. The Pesa Mfukoni agenda. The problem is that we said we will do ABCD and bring Pesa Mfukoni in 5 years, because that is the constitutional term. But on day one, you have a dishonest internal opposition inciting the public why a 5-year program should have been done in a year. And we are talking about a country recovering and a world recovering from a terrible post-COVID economy. It's not possible. And you know that lie has sold, because lying is cheap and lying is popular. And lying doesn't require any sophistication. You don't have to be a leader to lie. Anybody can incite the public. True or false? People don't hear things like wait or we are doing. They don't want. They want now. Where is the money in the pocket? So what some cheap leaders do, first they take advantage of the way human beings are wired to complain. You know, human beings are wired to complain, and we always want instant. That's how we are created. Hata watoto wanasema nataka mkate saa hii. Mtoto anasema I want bread now. Ukimwambia I have to send the house help to the kiosk, anasema now, mommy, now. I'm hungry now. So that's how human beings are wired. That's why the Israelites gave Moses a hard time in the desert. Because they are being told there is a land of milk and honey, but they can't see it. They can only see the desert. They are seeing the environment around them there. So what incomplete leaders do, they take advantage of those sentiments and they start now spinning, you see. Nothing is happening. There is nothing. Muliahidiwa, which is okay for somebody outside government. But we cannot do it ourselves. This team is the one that created this government. True or false? Tharaka Nithi vote for this government was one of the highest in Kenya, percentage-wise. Isn't it? So this is our government. This is our government, my friend. The people who never voted for this government are very few. Alafu, because of these challenges I've explained, mtu anakuja anawaambia pana, tutoke kwa hii serikali, tuachane nayo, mwaka imeisha, mwaka mbili imeisha. But 5 years are not all over. Yeah? 5 years are not over. Even building a house, you have to dig downwards first before you start building upwards, isn't it? Ukitaka kuweka nyumba ya makaratasi, you don't need to dig down. You just put papers on top. But when the wind comes, it will just be blown off. So, leaders who are incomplete, they take advantage of those sentiments to incite the public. And the public loves incitement. It's the easiest job. Anybody can incite the public, even the most, sitaki kusema kitu hapo, lakini anybody can incite the public. Hey, chochea. That is how Barabbas secured his release on the day Jesus Christ was put on the cross. The Bible says his main job was causing insurrection and inciting the public against the authorities. Biblia ni yuga kana ta yuga aeretwe athaikitwe awetwe athaikwa nuntu wa kwingira mwingi kuchochea umma. And 99% of the people calling themselves leaders are in that business. The work of a leader is not to listen to what the people are saying and assist them in saying it. Because if you listen to what they are saying and you assist them in saying it, so what is your role? And number two, many of the things the people say are not correct. But they say it because they do not have the facts that you and I have. They have not come to Karen. They have not been briefed by the deputy president, so they don't know. So the work of a leader is to guide the community, to guide the people, to tell them this one is okay. Yes, we need these 5 things, but this one, right now, it is possible. This other one will require a year or 2. That is the work of a leader. If your work is to follow the people, you have no business calling yourself a leader because it is the people leading you. Isn't it? So who is leading the other? Yeah. So I expect you as opinion shapers, as leaders, to lead. And leading means you explain. You help people to see a picture they didn't have. You assist them because God has blessed you, you have some extra information, assist them to see things differently. But if people shout and say, we want this now, and it is not possible, then you go there and carry placards and start saying, yes, 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 we want. You have no business calling yourself a leader. And that's why you see a good leader is not popular all the time. But a good leader is popular at the right time. I repeat, a good transformative leader is not popular all the time. I have told you how Kibaki was very unpopular in 2005, 2 years after he was elected almost unanimously. But by the time President Kibaki was leaving in 2010, 2011, many people in Kenya were saying, I wish Kibaki could get at that term. True or false? Those of us who use this road to central Kenya, that's when the dual carriageway, Thika superhighway, started being built in 2009, 7 years after Kibaki's election, not in 2003. That's when people saw the superhighway, 50 kilometers from Nairobi to Keno. Kibaki did that without speaking Kikuyu and without climbing on trees to explain and publicize his love for the people of Gema. In fact, I was a young man. I served briefly in his government. If you are from central Kenya and where we come from, and you try to speak to President Kibaki in your mother tongue, he will tell you off. He has no time for nonsense. Yet, he transformed Kenya, and he transformed even our rural economy without speaking Kikuyu and without pontificating how he loves the Gema people. True or false? President Uhuru, who also appeared, also came from our region generally, also did wonderful programs. And I've just given the Superhighway for Kibaki. Kibaki did many things across Kenya. But it doesn't mean if you do across Kenya, you'll not do where you come from. You can do at home and away. Yeah. Musidanganywa ati for you can only succeed if you do things where you come from and ignore everybody else. Because again, you'll not have a country. President Uhuru, you know, for me, at the last 2 years of his administration, we had political differences with President Uhuru when he chased me away without giving me a reason. I even asked him to explain, because it's not so much about the job. I was not keen on the job. In fact, that break gave me a bit of time to reorganize my personal issues, which had gone haywire because of my, I'm such a passionate person. I get committed to public service. So some private issues ilikuwa imeharibika. Nilitengeneza wakati Uhuru alinifukuza. Sasa niko sawa. Nilitengeneza zile miaka 2 Uhuru alinifukuza, hapo ndio nilijipanga. Mambo yangu ya nyumbani hapo, unaona fence imeanguka, unarekebisha fence because you are not available. Fence imeanguka when you are serving the public. So President Uhuru, I had problems with him, political problems, the last 2 years after he chased me away without giving me a reason. So I told President Uhuru, it is okay, I am going to leave because I see you have made a decision. But please, tell the people of Tharaka Nithi and their Meru people and the people of Kenya, tell them, what is this big sin that this son of Tharaka Nithi has done? Ndio wajue, nimeiba? Am I corrupt? Have I insubordinated? What have I done? So, hakunijibu, tukakosana kidogo. But to his credit, President Uhuru is the one who started the Dongokundu bypass in Mombasa, which we've just completed. We found it at the tail end as Kenya Kwanza. President Uhuru, for us locally now, okay, because you need examples away and local. For us, the highway Kibaki left in Keno, he took it to Marwa. Isn't it? Isn't it? Sio ni kusonga. Hata sisi, hata kama iendi the way we wanted, iende, but still our journey is shorter today. Mpaka pale Makutano. True or false? Without speaking Kikuyu, without preaching to us every day how he loves Gema. Yeah? So I'm wondering, these other people who say they love us, they have never convened one single county, including the county they come from, to discuss development in your county. Hii upendo ni upendo ya kupeleka wapi? Munisaidie tu kuelewa. Me, I don't understand. What kind of love? And must you speak about it? Just do it. Just do. There's love. Just do it. We will see it. So today, I have called you to tell you that this administration, having laid the foundation the economic foundation that would have even taken longer. Okay? Kwa sababu kama bei ya unga 2 kilos ni 250 na inaongezeka by 10 shillings every week, you have to put money in subsidizing production to have enough maize so that if you have enough maize, you don't import anything, the price of maize flour will come down. That is what President Ruto was doing for the last 2 years. That is what has made unga to come from 250 to 120, around there, 110. Wearing sufurias on the head could not have changed. And the people wearing sufurias on the head, they had their time. Some were vice president. Everybody. Even some of the people I saw the other day, I don't know, saying things, they were also in government. They were ministers, water ministers, I don't know what. So, mimi nilikuwa interior minister Makambili. Nilisukumana na 3 things. And I didn't know I would leave after 2 years. In fact, I thought best case scenario, I'll be there for 5 years. I thought so. Sikujua nitakaa 2 years. But there was a problem in the north, ile banditry. There was a place in Lamu here, the Boni Enclave, where we have many people, including immigrant communities, even from Tharaka Nithi. They are doing agriculture in Lamu there. Terrorists were butchering them every day. So there was terror, there was banditry, na mambo ya passport. And today, now that I'm no longer in interior, if somebody asked me what I did as interior minister, I may not have done 10 things, but I'll quote the 3 things that I achieved. Isn't it? So, kwa sababu wakati wa siasa itafika, wale tutashindana nao, including my brother who was here. He was deputy president for 2 years. 2 years, deputy president. He will tell us also, as deputy president, what he did for all the counties of Kenya, including Tharaka Nithi. Mimi nimesema annually, every year, I will be giving my account. So yeye atasema, wakati alikuwa deputy president, he pushed this road, he pushed this project, he pushed this dam for us. Then hapo tutashindana mambo ya maendeleo. So it's going to be very rough. Watu wasifikirie, it's going to be so rough, my friend. Very rough. It's not going to be easy. You cannot come to inside people at barriers. Mtu amefiwa na loved one, unakuleta vijana hapo kupiga kelele. Sijui kwa wedding. Ama musician ametengeneza event, it's not even your event. Wewe unaundadia hapo, unakuja kuleta kisirani. And that habit is dangerous habit. Our area where I was born, this area, general area, central, we are not known for violence. Those behaviors were elsewhere. For the first time, and I'm speaking as the immediate interior minister, I was so downcast to see people burning each other's property in Karatina, in Embu, for the first time. People who know each other. Unajua ile duka ni ya fulani, supermarket ya nani, he has employed 20 children from here, unaenda unachoma. Dangerous politics, driven by poor leadership. And I have not said leaders should not listen. Listen and look for solutions. Not to listen and follow the crowd and incite them into anarchy, violence. Today, Kisumu, Kondele, used to be the most volatile political town and area in Kenya, where people were burning each other's property and you disrupt transport. Today, the headquarters is in Embu. Hapo Embu kuna kijana amekaa hapo, ati ni mjanja sana, ni maarufu sana, hapo anasanya vijana hapo ya kufunga barabara. Your own parents are passing by there going to hospital. We kiongozi aina gani? You can say the same things you want to say, but don't disrupt the economy. Don't shut down the economy. Don't inconvenience innocent people who have nothing to do with politics. So it's not wakijipiga kifua, sijui vile watasema, sijui vile watafanya. They have no landing ground. It will be so rough. It will be rough. Ala, sasa niulize, ile siasa nilikuwa nafanya hili kidogo, nilikuwa senator ile, sikuwa na chochote, sikuwa na kiti ya serikali, sikuwa kwa executive. I had to go and beg other people, oh nisaidie barabara, oh nisaidie. Now I don't have to beg. Yeah. Alafu naniambia we go and start opposing President Ruto hapa. There's only one person who can countermand me in Kenya. Only one. The whole country, by the grace of God. Na maombi yenu. Only one person. One. From the executive, judiciary, legislature, 2 levels of government, everywhere, the whole country, God by his grace and your prayers, only one person can overturn my decision. Sio ni baraka? So we should make use of it to assist our county, to assist Kenya. Yeah. So, wale wanategea ati yani, na sasa governor, my brother, bro, and these other brothers and sisters hapa, tukue serious bro. You know I love you. You know that. As a brother. You know you are a classmate with my elder brother. Na mimi ni mtu ya respect relationships. But we must be serious now. I met with my sister Cess, the governor of Embu, who is also my sister and somebody I love and somebody we've walked a long journey together, politically. Kamwambia sasa wacha nikuongeleshe my sister, not as the deputy president of Kenya. Wacha nikuongelesha kama ndugu yako and your age mate. And you will do nothing about what I'm going to tell you. Amuliza governor, how is it possible? You're the national chairman of UDA. You are a UDA governor and the national chairman of the ruling party. Hati sijui mimi, tumeona watu wengi, my friend. We even disagreed with President Uhuru Kenyatta when he was the commander-in-chief, when it became necessary. Because kuna wakora walienda wakamteka nyara hapo, akalose something hapo. Lakini siku hizi tumekuwa marafiki. Nilikuta kulikuwa na mitego mingi ya kuseparate William Ruto na Uhuru Kenyatta, nikategua. Sasa, because we cannot afford to have our retired president talking with complaints out there. It is wrong for a country. And he is the only living former head of state we have. If the nation was in a crisis bigger than itself, we will require somebody with enough stature to be able even to speak to President Ruto and call the nation to order. Mzee Moi rested, Mzee Kibaki rested. That other person can only be a retired president, and that is Uhuru Kenyatta. He's the only one. You know, the rest of us, we cannot, President Ruto is our boss. But as a retired head of state, he has the moral authority, if there are some things, to have a discussion with the sitting head of state, and they will agree on how to salvage the nation. So, sasa ni mabesti, tuko hivyo, tunaendelea kusonga namna hii. Alafu watu wengine wadogo hapa wanatutisha. It's because we don't talk. Wanatutisha, sijui tutafanya. Ufanye wapi? Pitie wapi, my friend? Utapitia wapi? Where now? Siku ile, niwacha tu niwache. Sitaki kurudi kuongea mambo ya pale. Abweria karonguru kariagera nkanga mwathoni nontu wakwaga inya. Wale wameelewa waeleze wale wengine. Karonguru kariagera nkanga mwathoni nontu wakwaga inya. Na keno yusi wakura nkanga lakini gatiena inya ya ukururia nkanga kaira mugunyeni. Aya. So nikimalizia what are we doing now? Hapo Tharaka Nithi, we know we have stalled projects. We don't have to repeat it here. I'm the one who launched all those projects. The only senator in Kenya who launched projects. That time, now, and maybe in the future. Na ungeona watu walikuwa wananisukuma hapo, wananipigia kelele hapo. The only senator, show me another one. So skiza. Lakini kidogo musipige Senator Gataya sana, kwa sababu even during my time when I was a senator for Tharaka Nithi, we had 47 elected senators of other counties. Siembu tulikuwa na Ndwiga, Meru tulikuwa na Kiraitu Murungi. Show me one project initiated by any of them as senators anywhere. After I left Senate, because I served for 2 terms, even now, one senator, including our own senator, hakuna. Even the Senate that will come, most likely there will be none. Nilikuwa na jaribu maujuzi hivi. Lakini sasa Mungu ametusaidia, sasa tuko sawa. Sisi ndio sasa tuko pale. So I know all those road projects. We are going to revive and complete all of them. It's as simple as that. So I want in a next annual review, because we have 2 working years left before the campaigns. After 1 year, I will come here, I will call you again, either here or in Kavana. You ask me, how has this government pushed the roads agenda, the stored roads, how many and where are we on that? Sinamna hiyo? All of them. Okay? We have electricity connections, different levels of connectivity. We're going to push it towards 100% in all the 3 constituencies. We are building, the work that remains now is now building the house upwards. And it has, and this will be my conclusion, it has 7 aspects. 1, it is revitalization of the sectors of the economy where the majority of the people of Kenya derive their livelihood from. Tunataka tubadilishe na tuongeze mapato katika sekta za uchumi ambazo wananchi wengi katika Jamhuri ya Kenya wanatoa mapato yao ya kila siku. Na hiyo ni katika sekta ya kilimo, ufugaji, masuala ya uvuvi for the western and coastal areas, and the blue economy and mining. That is what we call the real sector. 80% of the people of Kenya derive their household incomes from agriculture, livestock production, fisheries, blue economy, and fisheries. Already, if you do that, you'll have touched 80+% of the people of Kenya, especially at the grassroots. Up at Tharaka Nithi, we know the value chains, where most of our people get their daily bread from. It is in tea, coffee, dairy, dengu, and the cereals. It's around there, isn't it? Those are the sectors we are investing. And also in introducing other value chains like cotton, which are dyed and so forth and so on. Because when you touch these sectors and the returns we get from them increase, you touch households. You touch every home. Every home where they were getting 10,000 per year, okay? 10,000 per year is like 1,000 per month. They start getting 100,000 per year, which is like 10,000 a month. It looks more to you because you have money. But the ripple effect in the economy is tremendous. That is what we call bottom-up economic transformation. Revitalizing sectors where the majority of the people of Kenya derive their livelihoods. We have our value chains, we are working on them. And I'll give my accountability statement in due course. The second thing we are doing is to put in place the support infrastructure to help these value chains bring in more wealth and more incomes to the people. What do I mean? For us to transform agriculture, livestock, fisheries, and the blue economy sectors, and mining, we need good roads, road infrastructure. That is a support infrastructure. Power, electricity. Then we have what we call county aggregation and industrial parks, because we have to move to value addition. And Governor, we need to have a conversation. We see how we can support you to expedite the Tharaka Nithi County Aggregation and Industrial Park. Hiyo ndio kazi ya Deputy President. Kama kuna KAIP Tharaka Nithi, anatatua. The next county, anatatua. The other county, anatatua. Sio kungojea rais. Kazi yangu ni kureport progress. Alafu ikikamilika, rais akuja afungue. Sina mna hiyo? So, we are building roads. Support infrastructure is roads, it is electricity, it is the county aggregation and industrial parks. In some counties, regions, we have special economic zones, which are part of that infrastructure. We are also building markets so that you have dignified places where trade can take place, and an aggregation and value addition center so that we stop selling raw materials. We add value. And some of the value addition required is very small. Kama ni ndengu, if you just sort the ndengu and just make sure that you remain with the best, then you package nicely in 2 kilogram or 1 kilogram pack, and you brand it as a product of Tharaka Nithi. That is already value addition. It will improve the price significantly, other than using mukebwa kembo to pour the ndengu, and some of it is rotten, some of it, the price will just shoot up. That is what supermarkets do. They will buy it at 70 shillings, they go sort it, they package it, they put in the shelf, and they sell at 200 shillings. What have they done? Sorting, packaging, and branding. Total of that value addition is less than 5 shillings. They bought at 70. But the presentation is so good. So when Professor Kithaka goes to the supermarket, when he's coming from the university, he will buy that at 200 shillings. But the fellow selling it at Nkondi sold it for 70. The supermarket has gotten twice the value. Supermarket hana shamba, halimi, havuni, ako papo anangojea mkulima wa Nkondi tu alime, alafu he is getting twice what the farmer is getting. These things look like abstract, but that's how you transform a community. That's how you transform a country. And as I said, transformative actions are not popular. Because people want the things they can see now. Later on, when these things start realizing, that's when people say, oh, President Ruto had a point. But by that time, he will be completing his second term and going home. Yeah? As they say, before you realize your father was right, you already have a son who thinks you're wrong. Sinamna hiyo? And for the ladies, before you realize your mother was right, you already have a daughter who thinks you're wrong. Nakuanga hivyo. So it's okay, we are not looking for popularity. The time for popularity will come, and we'll canvass popularity politics at the right time. The third thing we are doing is investing in the housing program. People don't understand the housing program. The housing program sorts out many things. One, it increases the Human Development Index of Kenya. One of the reasons why some countries are top among the rich countries of the world is the quality of dwellings, houses that their people live in. Singapore, for example, is the most developed country in the world. It is 99% of the citizens of Singapore are home owners. Almost everybody. And when the president, the visionary leader of that country started that program about 40 years ago, he was almost impeached. Exactly what we are doing 40 years later is what Singapore did 40 years ago. He was almost impeached. Oh, we have houses. Tuko na nyumba. You know, cheap thinking. You don't understand economics. Kila mtu ako na nyumba. So, even introduce compulsory savings. Mandatory by law in Singapore. You must save. It is your money. Kama hii NSSF tumeongeza. NSSF is money for the retiree. But we force you to save so that you have enough package to go home, so that you don't retire and die the following day, because after 40 years, you have accumulated so little. So the housing program is helping us in the Human Development Index. Kenya's growth and development will rise. The housing project is helping us absorb some youths who are idle for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Don't ask us what they will do after that. By that time, we'll have another program. So between staying idle in the markets and heckling leaders and being busy in a construction site for the next 2, 3 years, which one is better? And better keep them busy. They earn every day. So by the time they finish that project or that program, we'll have made other interventions for them. And the people who are opposing the housing project have jobs and they have houses. It is also helping us to resuscitate the construction sector, cement, steel, sand, all those things that go into construction. That industry, the construction industry, will be revived because of that involvement. Number 4, we are, because macroeconomic stability, then you have revitalization of critical sectors where we get our livelihood from. Then there's the housing program. And then number 4, it is jobs. It's jobs. And I don't have time to say what we are doing right now and going forward on job creation, but we must reduce the number of our jobless youths. We have no option. We are doing it through temporary jobs in some of the programs, like the Affordable Housing Program, and also in the Climate Works Program, which we are now going to roll out. We have Nairobi now engaged 20,000 youths. We will double it to 40,000 youths. We want every county to be a center for climate works, similar to what used to be called Kazi Mtaani, at least to keep our young people busy for the time being as we work on the long-term interventions. But we are also encouraging our young people who are young and educated, who cannot get the jobs we are providing. If they get jobs abroad, let them go and work, invest at home, save. When they want to come back after 5, 10 years, they can always come back. There are people saying we are doing labor export. We are not exporting Kenyans. We are just doing what is known as labor mobility. The same way Many children were born in Tharaka Nithi, but they work in Mombasa today. They go home after 3 months or 6 months or at the end of the year. They are still children and sons and daughters of Tharaka Nithi, but they work in Mombasa, isn't it? What is the difference if the person is working in Dubai, the one who doesn't have the job in Mombasa? There's no problem. In fact, the person in Dubai, when they are coming home, will reach Tharaka Nithi before the person coming from Mombasa reaches Tharaka Nithi. Because it's under 5 hours to Jomo Kenyatta and 2 hours there. Huyu mwingine akikalia barabara kutoka hapo Kilindini, kufika Nairobi 8 hours. Na amechoka. Another transfer, another 3-4 hours. Tafika the following day. So in a modern world, between keeping our youths idle and getting them jobs anywhere, we would rather get them jobs wherever we get a job. They invest, they save, they are always welcome to come back home. So tunasema we are programs for kazi kwa ground, kazi mtandaoni na kazi majuu. We are also creating ICT jobs. Hiyo ndio kazi mtandaoni. ICT, through the ICT hubs, digital jobs, content creators, then the creative economy. So we have that job agenda, which we are pushing extremely hard to make sure that we need. So I'm left with 2 last ones, that is health and education. New governor, don't consider yourself like a superhuman. It's the grace of God. Yeah, so usitutishe ati rais a one-term president. And pia watu wengine wanatutisha huko jana. Ati our job is to make sure William Ruto is a one-term president. That is your objective. Hiyo tu. Just that. And you will have achieved a lot. President Ruto is lucky to be among the 5 Kenyans who have occupied the seat of President of Kenya. Some, 24 years. Others, 10 years. If he gets 5, so be it. If he gets how many days, so be it. There are many qualified people. The same for me. I told you when I became Minister for Interior, niliangalia siasa nikasema, at least the first time labda nitaserve hapa. Maybe if we win a re-election, maybe the president will take me in another ministry, I don't know. But I thought perhaps I would stay for 5 years. I stayed for 2. So I had to work every day as if that is the last day in office. Yeah. Mimi nimekuwa naibu wa rais. Today is the 89th day in office. I am working as if this is it. Hakuna siku ingine ni hii tu. That's how I'm working because you don't know. We live and work by the grace of God. There was somebody in this office. Today he's not here. Now he's giving us ultimatum from funerals. How he will make William Ruto a one-term president. As if that is an achievement. William Ruto's objective is not to serve for 2 terms. It is to use the time that God will give him in office to bring transformative programs in 1, 2, 3 areas and then leave so that other people can come and take Kenya forward. As his principal assistant, that is my objective too, to support him. So msikuja kututisha na one term, my friend. Mimi kwanza nimekuwa DP 89 days ni mingi. Yeah, nikitoka nitakuwa nimekuwa deputy president. List ikisomo hata mimi nitakuwa hapo. Unatishwa na mambo kidogo hapa, sijui 2027, who will be the runmate, mambo ya upuzi. Useless. Na greed, that's what greed does to leaders. Yeah. Ile nyama inakujonga ni ile iko kwa sahani. Yeah. You get something and the next thing you're there scheming, I don't know, doing what, harassing everybody. My friend, nani alikuambia hata tutakuwa ile? You don't know, so please. So sisi tuko focus. Na kama unatutisha na one time, tafuta another threat. Even one time is okay. Yeah, it's no problem. But the issue is, after that one term, what will he say? If William Ruto will say, at the end of my first term, I have moved the people insured with a health card from 9 million to 40 million, he will be a successful Kenyan. Sindio? Yeah, so sisi tuko hapo. Then we also want to do educational reforms, because education is what runs the entire country. It's the software that runs the country. And we have issues. The CBC had some issues when we were campaigning. Many parents were saying, scrap CBC. So we had to do some adjustment, and I'm grateful to the scholars and the people who are in the Presidential Working Party. They have relooked at some of the proposals. CBC now is fairly getting steady. But we have issues with the university funding model. Many universities were almost becoming bankrupt. We came with a new model. There are more issues in court. We are even adjusting for the September intake to take on board the suggestions that have been given. If you talk to many vice chancellors today, they will tell you this current proposal from Kenya Kwanza is more stable to the university than what we used to have before. There are some gaps. We are adjusting those gaps. The same with health. There are some gaps in Taifa Care, but we are adjusting those gaps along the way. And let me tell you, good people, it is better to have an imperfect health coverage for every Kenyan than no coverage at all. Sinamna hiyo? If every Kenyan has a card, maybe as insurers, maybe it is not perfect, because all human enterprises are not perfect. But that's a better conversation, how we can perfect it, than millions of our people begging alms, literally begging. And their leaders spending their entire whatever they have. Some even go into their businesses to fund medical harambes. So the reason we are focused on Taifa Care, housing, reviving these sectors, I have said, macroeconomic stability, support infrastructure, the reason is because they will transform Kenya. They will make Kenya better than we found it 2 years ago. Many more people will have bearable living conditions than they were when we took over. If in the process we suffer popularity consequences, so be it. I conclude by saying, sasa nyinyi mnatoka Tharaka Nithi. Deputy President of Kenya alizaliwa hapo. Please, I have no power to... whatever you decide is within your power. Maybe elsewhere I have some power, I have some leverage, but at home I have no power. Because you are my neighbors, you are my relatives. So you decide. Nyinyi mu decide.